Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at just a bizarre deck that's gone and done a win over in Japan. It's Team Rocket's Arbok. And I don't mean it's Team Rocket's Arbok, but supported by a bunch of other Pokemon that let Team Rocket's Arbok do its Team Rocket's Arbok thing. No, I mean it's Team Rocket's Arbok. That's it. That's the deck. Yes, obviously you have to play Team Rocket's Ekans to evolve into Team Rocket's Arbok, but honestly, as we're going to explain, anytime you've got Team Rocket's Ekans in play, and I'm not talking attacking or having it in the active, I'm talking about just having it in play, there is potentially a liability scenario going on. So, why are we playing Team Rocket's Arbok? Well, largely here, it's because of the ability. The ability says, while this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent cannot play any cards from their hand, or any Pokemon from their hand, that have any abilities other than Team Rocket's Pokemon. Your opponent cannot evolve Pokemon from their hand while this is in the active. Incidentally, this is why we don't want any other Pokemon other than Team Rocket's Arbok. Like, the entire goal here is to have Team Rocket's Arbok in the active, and then, like 3 Team Rocket's Arbok sitting on the bench. Because whenever there's a bench Pokemon that isn't Team Rocket's Arbok, your opponent can just gust around it. And they drag something else into the active, and when they drag something else into the active, you no longer have Team Rocket's Arbok in the active, which means the ability goes away and they can evolve, and generally speaking, when they get to evolve, they get to win the game. Bad. So you don't have anything else. The Pokemon line in this deck is 4 Team Rocket's Ekans, 4 Team Rocket's Arbok, and it really is important that you evolve up as soon as you can and don't have any other Pokemon in play. Now, of course, obviously, your opponent can, on like turn 1, use Gusting to drag an Ekans into play and then start evolving, or turn 2 really. But then your opponent's got to use their supporter for the turn for Gusting, while then also searching out all of the bits to evolve. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I am saying it's highly improbable. The weakness of the deck is where your opponent can gust around it, but they really need to do this in the early game before you've got multiple Arbok set up. But then if they're doing that, they're not using their supporter cards to search for their Pokemon, which they need to do to evolve it as well. You see where we're going here. Also, fun fact, there are multiple cards in this deck that you just do not see anywhere else. As for the attack here, there's only really one we're ever going to be using. Well, there's some more in a minute, we'll get there. But basically, free energy, and yes, you can use Team Rocket's energy, that's huge here. So it essentially turns into a 2 energy attack, and it does 30 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not the best attack ever, but we got a bunch of tricks we're going to see in a minute, and, in theory, your opponent's not playing what they want, so it's going to be a lot better when you actually get round to using it. Now, before we go on to look at the rest of the deck, really this is a deck where we need to look at the metagame. So shout out to Pokécard Book over on Twitter. This is what they've got for the metagame. And I'm not saying this is a perfect representation of the Japanese metagame right now. I'm saying it's a nice visual representation that does it quite nicely. Now, the biggest issue here is that number 1. Number 1 is Raging Bolt, which doesn't have an ability, and sure, it does really need Teal'c Ogerpon that does have an ability, but of course, that's a basic Pokemon. So they can get this into play before your Arbok's in the active. And that is, for me, the biggest weakness of this deck. The fact that the biggest deck in the format, the best deck in the format, seems like it would have an alright job about this. You only need to get a couple of Teal'c Ogerpon into play turn 1, and you're probably going to be alright here. Now, it's going to shut down all kinds of draw engines, because ability draw engines are how we work, but this is going to be an issue. But you look through the rest here, and we are having an alright time. Charizard? Yeah, Charizard has an ability, so you can't evolve into that when Arbok's in the active. Sounds like a bit of a pain. Marnie's Grimmsnarl? Yep, got an ability. Can't evolve into that when we're in the active. Whoopsie daisy. Gardevoir? Well, you might not always be attacking with Gardevoir, But you do kind of need to get Gardevoir into play for the whole ability thing, given that the ability is how your deck runs. So Gardevoir, again, is a bit of a liability coming in here. Dragapult, sure, Dragapult doesn't have an ability. Granted, take that. You know what does have an ability? Dracloak. And these decks generally aren't playing much candy because they want to evolve through Dracloak. So if you can't get your Dracloak, you can't get your Dragapult. You see where we're going with this. With the exception of the top deck, which I know is a very notable exception, a lot of decks in the format feel like they would struggle a bit with this. Now, we're not playing any other Pokemon, but we are actually playing 4 Snorlax Doll. Full complement of Snorlax Doll. A card I've not seen in a deck for a very long time, maybe ever. Because the thing is, it's a 120 HP Pokemon that doesn't give up a prize. You can discard it from play. Now, the being able to discard it from play is huge, because if you didn't discard it from play, your opponent would be able to gust it into the active to get around Team Rocket's Arbok's ability. We don't want that. We do not want to leave Snorlax Doll in play. We want it out of play. The thing is, you can only play it into your active or bench when you're setting up. Now, for the first turn or two, brilliant. After that, you don't want them anyway. You can't play them anyway, but it doesn't really matter because you don't want them on your field to be gusted up. So hopefully you can get 1 or 2 of these down early to basically take the pressure off of your Arbok. And then, like I say, as soon as Arbok's up and rolling, off you go. Cool. That's it. Speaking of other trainer cards here, we're playing Pokevital A, apparently. That is the A spec we've chosen here. I've never seen a deck list with Pokevital A in. I don't think I've ever seen one. I'm still not 100% sure it's the correct choice, I should add. But this is the first time I've ever seen Pokevital A popping up in a deck list. It just heals 150 and can't be recovered from your discard pile. But apparently we're playing it here, and that's kind of cool. Now, in terms of TMs, we're playing a bunch of TMs here. We are playing TM Evolution, obviously. Side note, that's what a lot of decks are going to use to try and get around the fact that they can't evolve from their hand, because TM Evolution evolves from the deck, so will absolutely work. Okay. We're playing TM Devolution. Well, that's absolutely crucial because of the attack here. The attack's doing 30 damage to all of your Pokemon. So, yeah, that's pretty important. You need to be able to play this. So essentially, you spread damage around everything, then you devolve all of them, and hopefully get multiple KOs all at the same time. That is how you're winning here. TM Devolution, huge. We're actually playing a full 4 copies. What you really want to do here is spread with Arbok nicely, and then devolve, and off you go. But we're also playing Technical Machine Blindside here, another card, along with Pokevital A and Snorlax, that you just don't see. You don't see this card popping up in decks, basically ever. But it's the same energy cost as the attack you're using on Team Rocket's Arbok, and it does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon that has any damage counters on it, which is going to be all of them because of Arbok's attack. So again, we're playing 3 copies of this here, which looks absolutely bizarre, but yeah, it totally works. And I kind of love it. Seriously, this is cool. We're also then obviously playing Town Store, because we're playing 3 different technical machines here. We kind of need to be able to get the right one at the right time, so Town Store becomes a really nice option to go and search them out. Do remember, of course, the technical machines, they all fall off at the end of your turn, so part of the reason of playing lots is so we can find them, but also part of the reason we have to play multiple copies is because we actually need to use multiple copies. There is one other stadium here, I should say. There's a copy of Pokemon League Headquarters, and that just means that each basic Pokemon in play cost 1 more energy to attack. But bearing in mind, a lot of the evolution decks here you're shutting down anyway, so the goal here is just to make it a bit more awkward for your opponent. And then after that, you're just playing a whole bunch of Rocket cards. This is a Rocket deck, so we are properly going hard on the Rocket cards. We are playing a bunch of Team Rocket's Receiver, which will search out your Team Rocket supporters. And then we're actually playing all 5 Team Rocket supporters. So we're playing Ariana, that lets you draw until you have 8 cards in your hand if all your Pokemon in play are Team Rockets. Do watch out for your Snorlax doll, but again, you can just discard them from play. We're playing Team Rocket's Archer, that is a shuffle draw 5 for you, 3 for your opponent if you had a Pokemon KO'd last turn. Sounds good to me. Yes, this will work if Snorlax doll got KO'd. You're only playing it as a one-off, but still. And then all the others you're playing as 2-offs. Team Rocket's Proton that you can use on your first turn going first. Searches for 3 basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. Get your Arbok out, jobs are good 'em. Team Rocket's Patrel that searches your deck for any trainer card. And then Team Rocket's Giovanni, which is both Switch and Gusting. You're playing them all because you have to. And then obviously Team Rocket's Energy, as we talked about earlier, absolutely crucial here, busted in this deck. Here's a deck list as a whole, and it really is quite simple in a lot of ways and then awkward in the late game. In the early game, your goal is just to get Arbok out, multiple Arbok, and then leave them sat there. And make sure your opponent is not able to play the Pokemon they want to while you spread a bunch of damage. In the late game, you have to try and figure out when to use Blindside, when to use Devolution, etc. But basically here, you turn off a bunch of decks, spread a bunch of damage, and I'm not saying it's going to be the best deck and win a whole bunch of regionals, but I'm saying it did a win over in Japan, and there is clearly a lot of potential here, but the fact that it does seem to struggle a bit against the best deck in the format does give me a little bit of pause for thought here. Either way, I've shown you it now, so I want to hear from you guys. Do you think this is good? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Uncle Pokepeter, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them with the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.